Our big supermarkets are again under attack with fresh claims of price gouging, this time at the other end of the supply chain. Farmers are tonight demanding action, saying they're being screwed over in the name of profits. As big supermarkets bank billion-dollar profits, Aussie farmers are being bled dry.
We have to work hard to grow the crop. We have to spend money to grow the crop. Then when it comes to harvesting, we don't get the rewards. Supermarkets won't give us the rewards.
Victorian farmer Ross Marcelino has been in the industry more than 40 years.
I've never seen it as bad as this, no, because fuel's dearer, power's dearer, wages are dearer. And if we haven't got all these products, we can't grow to the premium product that they want. But yet, they're quadrupling their profit, and yet the farmers are going backwards.
While supermarkets claim... Farmers say that's not the only price going down.
At the moment, we're harvesting 12 acres, we're getting $2.20 a kilo, and they're retailing $6.90. Now, this is totally outrageous.
For Ross, it's gotten so bad he's considering leaving the industry.
So right now I'm at the crossroads where do we keep growing for the rest of the year, or do we pull the pin in the next 2 weeks and don't keep planting?
Both Coles and Woolworths say the market price of fresh fruit and veggies is determined by weather, seasonality, supply and demand. But farmers are now backing calls for an ACCC inquiry into alleged supermarket price gouging.
They're trading in a commodity that underpins all life. Food. If we don't have food, we don't survive. I'm not against them making profits, but it has to be transparent and has to be fair.
Queensland Premier Stephen Miles joining the chorus, writing to the 4 major supermarkets, wanting to discuss a widening gap between the prices farmers receive for their produce and the prices customers pay at the checkout. Pressure mounting on the federal government to ensure fair prices for both farmers and consumers, with a Senate inquiry set to start next month.
When the price of meat and fruit and veggies comes down for supermarkets, it should come down for families as well.
But can it save our struggling farmers?
Australia's meant to be the lucky country in the world. I think we're looked upon as the worst. The farmers don't want a lot. They don't want to be rich. They just want to make enough to survive and feed their families.
Queensland Fruit and Vegetable Growers Chief Executive Rachel Chambers joins us now. Rachel, we just heard from Victorian farmer Ross, who has pretty much hit breaking point. How many more farmers are in the same boat?
We are hearing nationally that growers have never had it this tough. And it's such a hard thing to say nationally, in that we don't want to be a sob story again. We don't want to, the woe is me farmer thing. Farmers should be revered. And what growers are saying is, in 30 or 40 years, the culmination of events that we are currently seeing and the impact potentially over the last 3 years, where input costs have risen between 30 and 65%, combined with no further increase in costs for the last 10 to 15 years, growers have been shouldering the burden because they live in hope of things getting better. So there is no one who won't say that it is really tough at the moment.
So on the supermarket side, Rachel, they say they've only got a small profit margin, less than 3%, and they say that prices are dictated by seasons and availability. What do you say to that? We
are not privy to supermarket net profit, so I would love supermarkets to share how they come at an arrangement of the price that they put to the growers. And I would say supermarkets know very well what they do in the negotiation process. So they negotiate hard, and I would dare say they use bullying tactics to growers with a perishable product in order to get every single cent.
What do you mean by bullying tactics? What are the supermarkets doing to growers?
So at the moment, there's growers who are very afraid about talking about this because of the fear of retribution. And if you look into this very real fear, you will see that growers who speak out and say we're not getting paid to cover our costs, or we're being bullied in different ways.
But is that, sorry to interrupt, Rachel, but is that real or perceived? Like, is there actual evidence of growers being punished because they speak out against the practices of the supermarkets?
It's both real and perceived. So yes, there has been absolutely multiple real cases of commercial retribution. And it's also perceived. So the supermarkets did bring in the arbiters a couple of years ago, or a few years ago now, to monitor the situation. If you speak to the code arbiters about is fear of retribution real or perceived, it'll be interesting to see what they say.
Can you just help us understand how big is the gap between what the farmer is getting and what we as customers are paying at the supermarket checkout? Like, what's the biggest gap?
I wouldn't know about the biggest gap, but substantial. So we're talking, there can be 50, 75, 100% markup differences and gaps.
No way. 100% markups?
Easily. So if we let's take, and commodities don't like me to speak about individual commodities because then it makes a commodity earmarked for retribution. So there's a commodity that sold to, the grower wanted last year $15 a kilo for this commodity. They were offered $7.50 for the commodity and it was selling at retail at $53 per kilo.
Oh, wow.
Macadamia nuts. Don't say yes or no.
No, I'm not saying.
What else could it be? Saffron.
Oh, you're so close. No, but these are the kind of things that growers talk about, and we've got no business in Coles and Woolies and Aldi and all the other retailer profits. They exist to make a profit. It is not about that. All we're saying is the growers aren't the ones making a profit in this case, and actually we are making substantial losses in this cost of living crisis.
Rachel, the Senate inquiry can't come soon enough. We appreciate your time. Thanks for that.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And for full statements from Coles and Woolworths, you can head to our links page.